Hey, hope everyone's having a great Sunday. It's Tom Clark over here at TFCIV MMA, and we are just doing our reactions to UFC Vegas 64 last night. Overall, real great card. Started off strong in the prelims. We had several great performances by Viana, Batista, Vidal, Miranda Maverick put on a good performance. Overall, some great performances on the prelims. One thing about this card I really noticed, very dominant performances across the board. Not too many close fights. A lot of domination throughout the card, and that was kind of surprising. There were a few fights here I thought were going to be pretty close, but not so much. Not so much. It was several one-sided fights, and it was overall a pretty good night of fights. I can't complain. Started off the main card, one that I was picking Marco Madsen to go in there, put on a great performance, use that wrestling. I didn't think Dawson would be able to out-grapple him. Madsen did drop him in the first, but then Dawson controlled him for the rest of the round. Similar in round two, Dawson, a lot of control, and then ends up finishing Marco Madsen by submission there in the third round. So very impressive performance from Dawson. Called out Tony Ferguson. You can't blame the guy. A lot of people on social media were kind of, hey, why are you calling out Tony Ferguson? He's on this bad stretch. But from Dawson's perspective, I mean, Tony Ferguson's kind of low-hanging fruit. He's underwhelmed a lot of people in his recent performances. He's looked horrible. And I had thought at first, well, it's just because it's high-level competition. But even against Nate Diaz, he didn't put on a great performance. And we all know what would have happened if a top competitor went against Nate Diaz. If the Hamzat fight would have went through, would have been very one-sided. So Tony Ferguson not looking too great. So not a lot of people getting on Dawson for calling him out, but you can't blame him for that one. Then after that, Ulanbekov with a great submission over Maness. Very, very impressive there. Got it done quick, got it done early. Not too much to go into in the depth on that one. Then this is kind of where the controversy builds up on this one. Shea Leon beat Minner in the first round, TKO. Injury caused it with the leg, but Shea Leon did finish it off with the ground and pound. But the big controversy here is, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, before the fight is one of the craziest betting swings you'll see. He went from about a plus 170 to a plus, I believe, 450, even that high when I checked it. And a lot of people think, obviously, James Krause, big guy in the sports gambling community, and they just passed the rule. You can't gamble, whether you're a corner fighter. You can't be gambling on fights. So real fishy there. I'm not one to toss out conspiracy theories. I'm just kind of saying what I've seen online, that a lot of people, there's some controversy there, think maybe something to do with James Krause's group or something like that. Who knows? But just throwing that out there because that is one thing a lot of people are saying, and I'm just kind of giving my recap, but also like to toss out kind of what everyone else is thinking. Neil Magny put on a very dominant performance over Daniel Rodriguez, got it done in the third round, finished the fight, and that puts Neil Magny, passes him over George St. Pierre for most wins in UFC welterweight history. Kind of sounds crazy. Oh my God, he's higher than GSP. But guys, Neil Magny's been doing this for a while. Neil Magny's a good fighter. He's one of those guys. I like him as Neil Magny's never going to be champion. We know that. But if you want to test the guy, is this guy got the real deal? Put him against Neil Magny. They put Daniel Rodriguez against him. Neil Magny got the job done. They put Max Griffin against him. I thought Max Griffin won the fight, but it was close. Neil Magny, he's going to be competitive with all these guys. Even some of the guys at the top. Shavkat was a beatdown, but I think against certain guys in the top 10, he could put on a decent performance. Jorge Masvidal, maybe someone like that. Maybe even Wonder Boy in today's day and age in 2022. We'll see. But that's just kind of different possibilities. And then in the main event, Amanda Lemos with a knockout finish. A lot of people said, or TKO finish, I should say, sorry. A lot of people, hey, it was an early stoppage. It was an early stoppage. Do I think a lot of the shots were missing at the end there? Yeah. But to call it an early stoppage, kind of, I don't know, because Rodriguez was ducking away, turning around from it, which is one of the first signs that that fight's going to be over. And we all know Amanda Lemos hits with a lot of power. I was tempted to pick her this week in my picks that you guys could see on my Instagram page, but I went with the safe bet in Rodriguez, and it bit me in the butt. But overall, for my picks, I went 8-3. So that's a great percentage. I can't complain. We got a good night of fights, so nothing really to complain about. Like I said, a lot of one-sided dominant performances, but overall, real good. So nothing bad there. And now we start fight week for UFC 281 MSG, headlined Pereira versus Adesanya. Really looking forward to this one. Co-main event, Zhang Weili versus Carlos Esparza. And then the feature bout is obviously Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. I don't know anybody who's not excited about all three of those fights. Going to be really good. I was actually walking this morning, getting some exercise in, and I watched, it was when the premiere came out for the countdown. So I watched the whole thing. And I was getting goosebumps at certain times, guys. It's going to be a real good card. I'm real excited for it. I don't know, as you guys can tell from a few of my past videos, but I'm not too hot on Izzy Adesanya. Great champion, great fighter, does what he needs to do to get the win. What I don't like about him is he goes out there like before the Cannonier fight. Oh, I'm going to make this look like Forrest versus Anderson. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then goes in there and puts no effort into actually trying to do that. If Israel Adesanya went out and said, I'm just here to defend my title in the way that's easiest to me and will be best for me in the long run, cool. I don't care. You already have a big enough fan base. You don't need, it's always good to sell the fights, but you don't really need to. So go out there and spell all this BS about you're going to do this, this, and this. Makes these cool walkouts you do and all that, just makes it seem corny at that point. Makes all the talk in the fight week seem corny, as if he's not cringe enough with the frozen like Elsa and lines, or the, what do you use against Romero? The Twin Towers, they got a lot of controversy for. So I don't think he does himself any favors on the mic, and in his last couple performances, he hasn't done himself any favors either. If you watched the countdown this morning, it was until they got later into like the in-depth about Adesanya. For the first thing, they're using all highlights from years ago, because since the Costa fight, the dude hasn't given us really anything memorable. It's been coasting, which, like I said, you can't blame him. He wants to defend his belt. But don't go out there talking all this smack. I'm going to do this. You're not going to. So don't say it. And then co-main event, Carlos Esparza, Zhang Weili. Really looking forward to this one. Carlos Esparza, phenomenal wrestler. Got the split decision win over Namajunas last time. As we all know, one of the worst fights in UFC history. And we got a great one right after with Gaethje Oliveira. So emotions went from here to here. But it wasn't a good fight. We don't have to sugarcoat it. Zhang Weili coming off a very impressive knockout over Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And it's going to be a great fight, guys. I honestly think Zhang Weili probably gets it done. But who knows? We'll see. And then the feature bout, Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier. Everyone's excited for this one. Everyone can't wait to see this fight. As I've said in the past, huge Michael Chandler guy, so you guys know who I'm going to be rooting for. I don't have any hatred towards Dustin. I like Dustin as a great fighter, one of the best in the division for a reason, but just as a Michael Chandler fan, that's who I'm going to be rooting for. And then, obviously, great prelims, Molly McCann, Dominic Reyes, Andre Petroski, a lot of great people on the prelims, and then on the main card, we got Dan Hooker, Frankie Edgar's go-away fight. So, going to be a great card, guys. UFC 281, Madison Square Garden. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to do I'll do a picks video probably on Wednesday or Thursday for that. Really looking forward to it. And then obviously we'll do a recap here next Sunday. So I look forward to seeing you guys then, and hope you have a great rest of your weekend.